We have to get informed. We have to get involved. We have to stand up against the system. We have to cut government. It is taxes that fund this cancer. Our military spends almost $2 trillion a year. The foreign banks get tens of trillions a year. Many times what our taxes are. They're running us deep into debt. They're bankrupting us by design like a third world nation. And they're saying that anybody that criticizes anything the government does is a racist or a terrorist. How much more transparent does that have to be? Mark in Oregon, you're on the air worldwide.
Good day, Alex.
Hello, Mark.
Yes, sir. Great to speak with you again. Always great. I wanted to just make actually, I'm going to leave my comment off for time's sake, and I want to ask you two questions. Earlier in the show, you mentioned that there are two opposing factions in the Illuminati relative to the implementation of the overall agenda, and that this conflict is manifested in the U.S. military. Would you please flesh this out as much as possible as to what this disagreement is about, number one, and who the big players are, number two? And if you have time, would you please describe your estimation of what reality will be like in America if they pull off their nuclear false flag?
All right, Mark, very good question. Okay. There isn't one monolithic group. At the top, there's the central banks that dominate the planet. They're the biggest organization that control the issuance of currency and credit. Beneath them, there is a lot of old money that isn't part of the inner elite, but is tied into it, different business dealings. And there's a lot of upper middle class people and organizations and groups that are now realizing that globalization isn't good. Globalization means to screw them, the nouveau riche, just like it screwed the American people with NAFTA and GATT. And so you have a lot of people that thought they were members of the establishment that are now figuring out in the end game they've been set up as well. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that's, and again, I appreciate your call, Mark. Let me finish the answer here because you said you wanted to move on. So you have that going on. And in the military, you've got a lot of great men and women who are patriots who are finally being forced to see how they're being used to bring down the republic. And so you've got the population waking up and you've got the elite with this long-term plan being carried out. And so that's the battle that's going on. Let's talk to Herman in New York. Herman, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, Alex. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just want to say that everything you've been saying is correct. Hundreds of thousands of foreign troops have been deployed. Like you said, FEMA camps, body scanners, Boy Scouts training. I mean, the media is scaring us. This has pretty much been planned for years.
Exactly. They've got their forces in place. They admit they'll use foreign troops in America in NLE 09. It's all on record. They're merging our troops with the Mexican military. All this is going on. I mean, this has all been premeditated.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say, first thing I want to say, two things, is that this is actually going to be the perfect time to spread your DVD to Police State 4 and Invisible Empire. But my question is this. Do you think this time, as skeptical as the people are, that this false flag will work? Thank you.
God bless you. I don't think it's going to work. Reading Cass Sunstein at the White House, the regulations are, reading Rand Corporation, reading Pentagon documents, listening to what the elites are saying, because they think the public's dumb and doesn't read their own documents, they come within 1 inch of admitting they're staging the terror. I remember 4 years ago, it's in Truth Rising, Luke Rudkowski and others asked one of the head CFR guys, former Senator Gary Hart, well, you wrote a letter to Iran saying the U.S. government stages terror attacks, and they better watch it because we'll stage another one and attack them. And then he first denied it, but then once they had the letter, he said, okay, I did write that. So, see, they operate with each other kind of out in the open, thinking we're all dumb and don't see what's happening. And what was his question? I started answering it and then forgot what the question was. He was asking about nuclear terrorism. I mean, will they be successful if they stage it? And that kind of goes into the comment or the question from the caller in Oregon. I don't know, but the globalists are scared now. They realize when you read their own documents, when you watch Bill Clinton, when you hear them, that they understand there's never been an awakening this big. People have never been this upset and focused on real issues. And so whether they're successful if they stage these terror attacks, blowing up federal buildings, blaming it on Tea Parties and conservatives and libertarians, nuking cities, because in the FEMA drills it's 2 cities, blaming it on Iran, you see all the preparation for that. I don't know. But there's clearly gauging it, sending up trial balloons, deciding right now on whether they're going to do it or not. And what will life be like? They'll stage a big attack, get people all scared to circle around the government. They'll start taking the pension funds in the middle of it, saying they have to do it. They'll start assassinating political leaders, radio talk show host. I'm talking national host, big host. They'll try to scare people into shutting up. And then if we give in to the fear, they're going to win and roll out a Soviet-style takeover, run by the banks to consolidate our wealth. The communism is run by the big banks to take the middle-class wealth and destroy their hereditary enemies. So it's all up in the air right now, but we're going into the greatest challenge to humanity, not just the United States, we've seen in history. And the time for mincing words, the time for playing games, the time for holding back is over. Let's talk to Annie in New York. Annie, go ahead. You're on the air.
This will take me 45 seconds. In regard to the caller from Las Vegas, DOD was always a signatory to the Federal Response Plan, since renamed during Bush the Dumber regime, and DOD became the lead agency along with DHS. And, of course, these changes came during the James Lee Way Clinton years, which FEMA employees were told were necessary because of the screw-up with Hurricane Andrew during Bush the First, where FEMA was told to stand down. The military responded in the late 90s during bioterrorism modules.
Yeah, the military that's taken over so many other countries is now crawling all over the United States in covert operations.
Absolutely, and unbeknownst to FEMA reservists, we would hear during bioterrorism modules that the time was soon approaching where the agency would go from saving lives, and in the case of like a sarin gas attack in the New York City subways, hundreds of thousands would die.
That's right. That's right. In fact, pull it up in the last 3 minutes. I appreciate your call. I covered it Friday. I believe it was an AP article. Obama says cities may have to wait after nuclear attack as much as 70-plus hours. Pull that up and put it up on screen. Obama says cities may have to wait in nuclear aftermath. That should pull it up. Absolutely. This is all about martial law. Great points. This is their pretext to take over society. What elite wouldn't do this? They're ruthless. That's why they're in control. Marlene in Mass, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. How are you? Well, I got a piece of information for you from what I know about the border. You know how you were saying they were laying off Homeland Security people? Well, what they're doing is they're putting in their place these towers, and then they put sensors in the ground. And what's going to happen is, like, when people go toward the border or try to leave, these sensors sense these people. And what I'm thinking
exactly, they're locking the American people in, keeping us from being able to get our money out of the country. Roaches get in, they don't get out.
Exactly. So, and also, it'll also tip them off if a drug dealer that they don't like is coming over the border. They can sense them coming over the border. So
well, I've talked to high-level Pentagon people. They'll be told, and this has been in the news, to let one drug plane in but shoot down another. Exactly.
And exactly, and also, I mean, everything you're saying is true, and I've heard it before. I heard it from your show, but there's a guy called Michael Levine, and he was a former DEA agent. He writes books about how basically there is huge wars going on in Mexico and in South America about all these things that you're talking about. And it's brutal. I mean, it's like all sorts of torture.
And now it's spilling across our border. Thank you for the call. Rob in Canada, last caller, quickly.
Hey, Alex, great to be on with you. You're in our prayers, my friend. The theory, not that it matters so much what brought down the Twin Towers, but the theory that it was a demolition nuke, does that hold anything?
Well, you know, I know that some major peer-reviewed studies in England did find high levels of radioactive isotopes that would be involved in nukes. But Building 7 looks like a conventional demolition. I'm out of time. Folks, we only cover the facts. We have criminal groups running our country. We have got to have an awakening and grow up and say no to it, or things are only going to get worse. I mean, my gosh. The Gulf of Tonkin was staged. Operation Northwoods is declassified. They're sending fake Nazis to Tea Party rallies to demonize us. Bill Clinton's out saying he hopes there doesn't have to be a terror attack in America to shut down the Tea Parties. It's a veiled threat to everyone. We are going into slavery. We have to stand up and say no. See you back tomorrow, live 11 a.m. at Infowars.com. Great job, crew. Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know that the global elite are now storing non-hybrid seeds in secret storage vaults near the Arctic Circle? Did you know that in a real meltdown, non-hybrid seeds could become more valuable than silver or gold? It's true, seeds have outperformed even gold and silver before in this country, and it's possible that could even happen again. So our friends at Solutions from Science have put together the perfect mix of non-hybrid seeds. They call it a survival seed bank, and it can produce an endless supply of nutrient-dense food for you and your family. And here's the best part. These seeds have not been genetically modified.